I'm doing a job out of town and I missed the audition for the In the Heights movie. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Welcome to Dance Dish, where the dance ends and the dish begins. I am Scott Hislop. I'm your guest host for today. They can't get rid of me, but they don't want to. But we are not having fun at all today, right?
No,
not having fun at all today. This is Chris Dufresne, this is Marlene Ortiz, and this is Leo Moctezuma. And Leo, you gotta tell us about In the Heights, because it's not often that a big, huge dance musical makes it to the feature film. And I wanna know the story.
Yes. When In the Heights was being created, I actually got called to do the workshop for it.
You're talking about the Broadway.
Yeah,
the Broadway.
When
This is
it was
the
on
Broadway like 15, 16
A while
years
ago, yeah.
Liz Ramos called me at the time and she was like, hey, there's this new Latin musical about to come out and you'll be great for it. And we didn't know who Lin-Manuel is. I was like, oh, that sounds great, but I can't move to New York and not right now. When I ended up seeing the show, I was like kicking myself in the ass.
Damn it.
Oh yeah, it was like one of those, are you kidding me? I could have been original cast of this show, you know what I mean? I knew this show was gonna be a movie. I've been telling my agent, whichever agent I'm with, I'm like, if In the Heights ever be,
All of them.
whichever agent I'm with at the time, if In the Heights becomes a movie, I need to be a part of this movie.
Yeah.
Cut to 2019. I'm doing a job out of town and I missed the audition for the In the Heights movie. I'm like, are you kidding me? So I actually fly home from the job and I'm talking to my agent, I'm like, can I put myself on tape? Like, what is going on? She's like, well, there's actually a callback tomorrow. So I was like, okay, well, can you get me into the callback? She's like, okay, we're working on it. Back and forth, back and forth. For some reason, they can't get me into the callback. I was like, I've never pulled a diva card in my career, but I was like, I'm emailing back, my head's like, I was like, type my email, I'm like, what? Does my resume not mean anything? Like, I'm just asking you to get me into the room.
Yeah.
And the people that are in the room are people that I know. Finally, they were like, oh my God, someone can't be there, so they're gonna bring you in. During the audition, there was a freestyle part, I pull out, I do my research, I know what I'm auditioning for.
Yeah.
I pull out my Puerto Rican flag, and I'm like, it's a party. At this point, this is the end of the audition, so everybody's tired. Everybody starts jumping up and screaming, and we just have the best audition ever. 2 days later, I'm at the, I think it was the World Choreography Awards, and Chris Scott walks in, he runs up to me, he's like, Leo, I've been telling everybody about your audition. It was just amazing, like, that's exactly the energy that we want. Cut to, they ended up doing some skeleton crew for it, and I was doing a burlesque tour at the time, so when I was home, they would bring me in to do some skeleton crew. I'm in this movie, I'm in the skeleton crew, so I'm in the movie.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, silence for a month and a half.
No.
The next email I get is, hey Leo, so the movie's going into production, but unfortunately, they're only hiring locals in New York. And I was like, what? Like, I'm doing this movie. They're like, they're not flying anybody out. They're not, you have to be a local. And I'm like, well, what's the solution? And that's when one thing I need to tell dancers, the persistency that I had for a project that I was passionate about, I was doing this movie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
No one
saying?
was telling you no.
Yeah, period. And the agency, they couldn't do anything about it. So I went ahead and hit up Chris Scott and I was like, look, if you really want me to be a part of this movie like you say you do, like, I would do anything. Like, this project means the world to me. So he calls me right away. He's like, Leo, thank you for being a sweet person, a professional, and because all my other friends are cursing me out. You know what I mean? And he's like, this is the deal. Like, unless you have a legit address in New York and you can prove that you're a local,
You could use
like,
mine.
we can't, right.
Right.
And I'm like, well, it's so crazy, Chris, because before the audition, I was planning to move to New York. So, and he's like, okay, I hear what you're saying, So he's like, can I get this in writing? Email me with what you're telling me. I hung up the phone, I was like brainstorming. I called SAG-AFTRA. I was like, hey, I'm in the process of moving to New York, and there's some projects that I want to work on. Can you please change my local as a New York local? So literally, no problem, sir. So they changed my address to New York local.
He's smart.
I called my sister-in-law, Sony, and I was like, hey, can I use your address? Emailed Chris, I was like, here's my New York local, like whatever. And then,
just to prove a point about how serious they were about it, Dom, my husband, they said we can't, because they would have hired him, but they're like, you have to, and he's like, oh no, I've got a friend's address, we can. They're like, no, they're not doing that. they're not doing that. We've been doing that in New York and LA.
That's been forever, bi-coastal.
And
you
they
can
were-
work local,
They
meaning
told
they're not
him
gonna
that
put you up.
Did you pay New York taxes last year?
Yeah.
They told
Oh, they went there.
Yeah. Week went by, the airplane tickets were going up. I was like, I just booked my ticket. I was like, I'm gonna walk out on faith and just get to New York and be there. Literally, it's the day before I go to New York, and Chris comes. He's like, dude, I'm so sorry. It's been crazy. They're still putting the schedule together. So I don't know if you still want to come out. I was like, I'll be there tomorrow. He's like, what? The prices are going up.
Yeah.
And I'm moving to New York, you know what I mean? I arrive and my agent calls. She's like, hey, are you in New York yet? I'm like, yeah. She's like, can you make it to rehearsal in an hour? And I went straight from the airport, dropped off my bags, and went straight for the rehearsal for the first scene in the Heights movie. And I ended up working on all the big production numbers.
Yeah.
It was the most amazing, exhilarating New York summer. I mean, a project like this, it doesn't come
around.
It doesn't come around often. I was sitting in a room, everyone there was Latin.
Yeah.
Like they were so authentic with hiring, and it was just the most amazing, amazing, amazing project and movie that I have been ever a part of.
And to put a cap on it, you are moving to New York?
Yes!
Now he's really moving.
Tell us why.
Literally being in New York for 6 months, it started manifesting another dream of mine. And
What's that?
Being in a Broadway show. So this past February, I did a workshop for a new musical, directed and choreographed by Susan Stroman,
Wow.
music by John Kander and Fred Ebbs.
Wow.
Additional lyrics by Lin-Manuel. It's called New York, New York, and they picked it up and it's going straight to Broadway.
Congrats.
So I'm
26, y'all.
right, April 26th on Broadway at the St. James Theater, and I'm so ecstatic to be a part of it. So I'm
That's
making
so
my Broadway
cool,
debut.
my friend.
I love it.
Well, I
Broadway
would be
debut.
upset at New York because they're taking you from us, but whatever. You are the most bi-coastal person I know.
That was a dream, that was a
Besides
dream.
you and you. So, so here's
driver's license.
here's to making big things happen, big dreams.
Dreams come true.
All right, dreams come true.
Dance
Cheers.
dish.
Here's the dance dish.